Hi, and welcome to This Week in East Brunswick, the township's own news and information program. This week we'll join Amy Fisher, Information Officer for East Brunswick Public Schools, for a school news update and a visit with mask maker Larry Hunt at Baumanroe School. We'll look in on a lecture celebrating the bicentennial of the Constitution given at the library by Dr. William Berlin. Assistant Library Director Sharon will have an interview with author Tova Navarra. And we'll see the way cleared for the new Sullivan Way bridge, which will be built in order to accommodate the widening of the New Jersey Turnpike. On our regular features, Eileen O'Sullivan presents Comments on the Constitution, and Middlesex County Agricultural Agent Pegi Ballister-Howells offers suggestions for hardcover and paperback gardening books which might please your green-thumbed friends and relatives for this holiday season. On Consumer Aware, Adrian Eisner introduces a holiday survival kit, now available at the library, and we'll wrap up with a review of the special Township Council meeting held last Monday night. But first, here's a quick look at programming on Cable Channel 8 next week. Lenore Kulik begins the week with firming exercises on Look Great, Feel Great Monday morning at 10. At 10:30, Kids Stuff, a production of the Libraries of Middlesex County, features folk singer Gary Strunctious and Debbie Lawton. On Tuesday evening at 7, Eye on the Library features an exclusive Channel 8 interview with Betty White. At 7:30, host John Magliaro presents Sports Talk. Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, preschoolers join a children's librarian for stories from the library. And at 7:30 Wednesday night, gather the family for a special holiday presentation of For Art's Sake. This month, Dolly Basta introduces an hour of fairy tale drama by the Shoestring Players. The arts follow at 8:30 with a look at the current exhibit at the Middlesex County Museum in Piscataway. Join us again next week for This Week in East Brunswick, Thursday night at 7 and 8. At 8:30, Mayor Fox provides an update on the garbage situation on About East Brunswick with the Mayor. Be sure to check the Channel 8 program guide for repeats of all the shows just mentioned, and check the community bulletin board for current events in town.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher. I'm the Information Officer for the school system. Last April, 11 of our teachers, one in each school, received a Governor's Teacher Recognition Award. Those awards are given to teachers throughout the state in order to recognize excellence in teaching. The teachers all go to a convocation attended by Governor Kane and the Commissioner of Education, and each of the schools receives $1,000 to be used for an educational purpose designated by the winner in that building. In our schools, we've used the money in a variety of ways. For example, at Central School, where Gail Matteo won the award, cameras have been bought for each grade level, and the students and teachers are recording special events to be compiled into a yearbook. At Chittick and Lawrenceburg School, where reading specialists Adrian Hassel and Linda Bradley won the award, the money was used to buy computer software that can be used in basic skills instruction and regular classrooms. At Frost School, where second grade teacher Ada Flower won, she's bought a computer and software suitable for primary grades. At the high school, where Ed Weston, a science teacher, won the award, they bought an oscilloscope and other lab equipment and a videotape about Robert Millikan, a Nobel Prize winning physicist. At Churchill, Bob Cancro, a social studies teacher, won the award, and since current events is part of social studies, they bought a VCR and a TV set to be used in social studies classes. At Warnsdorfer School, Joan Swallock, the reading specialist, also received a grant from the New Jersey Council on the Arts and is using the money combined from that and the Governor's Award to bring in a poet in residence who will be in the school in February. And today we're going to see what the money at Baumanroe is being used for. The winner there was Valerie Rabinskis, the art teacher, and she has arranged for a series of workshops to be given to 4th and 5th graders by a visiting artist named Larry Hunt. Larry Hunt is a part of a group called Fastworks, and he does workshops on masks. And now we're going to see what happened at Baumanroe School when Mr. Hunt was here for his first visit, and he'll be back again to work with the students again.
Here's the way I am, like this. It's the way I am every day. Pretty cool, huh? That's the way I stand. I'm just kind of casual. But when I put this on, I changed the way I changed my energy a little bit.
So a little bit lankier, move my arms, smile, look at things, and my head kind of wiggles a little bit, all the time. Sometimes I'm kind of standing on one toe, one foot's kind of, side to side, looking at things. Have a good time.
But me, I just kind of, I'm a little more, I'm serious all the time. See? I never. So it's my character, my personality changes a little bit with this mask. Same thing happens. Let's look at this character and see what he looks like. These are ideas for you to look at your mask. Oh man. What are you laughing at? It's cold in here. What is it, middle of winter or what? Yeah, I think that's pretty funny, huh? Yeah. Yeah, well, I think your shoes are funny too, buddy. Yeah, your shoes are funny. Yeah, these shoes are really funny. Yeah, I guess I showed you. What are these kids doing in here? You know how much I like kids? No. That much. That's kind of a joke. That much. Who needs kids? Who needs them? I don't even. Oh, I know. Teachers need them. They'll be out of job, right? Okay. So I found a function for kids. You can stick around. Not too long, okay? See you later. I gotta go. I got better things to do. I'm gonna go out and take a nap in the leaves or something. Find something to do. Kids. Okay, so his name's Bucky. His voice, of course, he's all twisted up. His nose is bent. You know, he's got one eye that's halfway shut. So I thought he was kind of a street guy. But he's friendly. You know, he wasn't really mean to you guys. He's kind of friendly, makes jokes. But his voice was changed because I thought he was kind of a rough and rowdy. He has been through some rough times, so he gets a little rough and rowdy voice. So that's why I came up with that voice. What I want you to do is really look at the clay when you're starting to create shapes and things like that with clay. Look what the clay will automatically create shapes when you start working with it. And look at it and know if you notice that, oh, that almost looks like a nose. If it almost looks like a nose, then the clay is saying, I'm almost a nose, I'm almost a nose. And it's up to you to make it a nose, right? So you can do this with clay a little bit. Don't break the table. Just start shaping it a little bit. And you can make either real faces or abstract faces. It's going, oh, I like it. It's like a massage. Oh, I like it. Okay, so you start getting some nice shapes. Then you can start looking at it a little bit. Now remember what I said, the roundness? This is a good shape because it's round. And this looks like, oh, maybe it's an eye. Okay, so they start putting, this would be at the top of his head. Start pushing the clay, oh, there's two eyes. Now you start getting the round shape. This in here all of a sudden starting to look like a nose, isn't it? I mean, that's a good place for a nose. Maybe there's some ears. Great. Now, this is going to be a small one, but now I might want to start shaping the nose a little bit. If I want to give it nostrils, you can use your thumbs. Stick your thumbs up its nose. Look at that. All of a sudden there's a nose there. And here's a neat indentation for a mouth. Now you might want to add, now this is small, you might want to start with this much clay. You might want to add.
Mustache.
All right. Now with the eyes, if you can push the clay down here and create different types of eyes, different types of forehead. Maybe his nose keeps going up here. You can add clay. The eye there, and then you can add more clay for an eyebrow or an eyelid. Round that over. So you got an eyelid going. You don't want to make things too thin. And you don't want to be too detailed because you're going to add paper mache and it's going to take up a lot of space, okay?
Early Wednesday morning, the third and last house to be demolished for the new Sullivan Way bridge was taken down and cleared away. The home, located at 53 Sullivan Way, occupied a lot adjacent to the current Sullivan Way bridge, which crosses the New Jersey Turnpike in the Lawrence Brook development of East Brunswick. It is at this site, next to the existing bridge, that the new bridge will be built. Senior engineer for the Turnpike Authority, Alan Lewis, explained that the new bridge will be constructed in conjunction with the widening of the Turnpike between Interchange 9 and a point just north of Riders Lane. The contract for the bridge has not yet gone out for bid, but Turnpike authorities expect construction to begin on the bridge next spring. The existing bridge, 22 feet from side to side, was erected in 1951. Afterwards, the areas on both sides of the bridge were developed, and the street connected by the bridge was paved to a width of 36 feet on one side and 40 feet on the other. This means that the roadway loses its shoulder and narrows at the bridge. Residents have expressed concern over the specifications of the bridge because of the proximity of Lawrence Brook School and the children who cross the bridge in order to attend school. Although the Turnpike Authority's policy for replacing bridges which will span widened areas of the Turnpike is to replace in kind, the authority has agreed to build the new Sullivan Way bridge wider than the old. The new bridge will be 40 feet across, curb to curb, and will match the existing roadway. It will include a 12-foot lane in each direction, 8-foot shoulders, and sidewalks on both sides. This home was brought down by Mercer Wrecker Recycling Corporation. The authority will now regrade and stabilize the site until spring, when construction will begin. If you're wondering how you'll cross over the Turnpike at Lawrence Way while construction is underway, the existing bridge will remain standing until the new bridge is serviceable. The authority intends to keep the way open for traffic and pedestrians. The authority also plans to straighten and improve the intersection of Corona, Gage, and Sullivan in front of Lawrence Brook School.
The current challenge to the separation of powers was the topic when Dr. William S. Berlin presented a special lecture commemorating the bicentennial of the Constitution last Monday at the East Brunswick Public Library. Dr. Berlin's topic was especially relevant given last summer's Iran-Contra hearings and the recent controversies over the Supreme Court nominees. Dr. Berlin is a member of the Political Science Department at Montclair State College and the co-author of Government in the United States, a high school text. A resident of Highland Park, he has served as Chief of Staff for Assemblyman Stephen Adebato, Jr., and as Special Assistant on Government Relations to the President of Montclair State College. This program was made possible by the New Jersey Committee for the Humanities through a grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities to the Friends of Independence National Historic Park in Philadelphia.
Hi, I'm Sharon Karmazin, here at the library today with an author visiting us. She's Tova Navarra, and she's a reporter with the Asbury Park Press who has a new book just recently published on the work of the sculptor Jim Gary. It's called Jim Gary, His Life and Art. Tova, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the new book and how you came to write it.
The new book is a book that I have been actually thinking about for a couple of years. I had met Jim many years ago when I was a staff writer at New Jersey Music and Arts magazine, which is unfortunately now defunct. It was one of a fine magazine for the arts in New Jersey. And the publisher of that was very much an admirer of Jim Gary's work and felt that he needed somebody to write about him. So he called me, and I had the pleasure of meeting Jim and seeing his work, and I was very taken by it. It's very unusual.
Tell us a little bit about it for people who aren't familiar
yeah,
with it.
Most people know. I mean, Jim Gary has shown his work all over the world, and that includes Japan. It's now in Australia on a tour, and certainly all over the country. He makes dinosaurs out of old car parts.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he makes them is a very fascinating process. It's a terribly difficult situation. He goes to auto salvage yards, gathers up parts that are slowly becoming extinct themselves because of all the new plastic parts that new car distributors are using. He finds old drive shafts and rocker arms and brake shoes, and he puts them together and makes huge dinosaurs. I'm talking about 37 feet long, 50 feet long. They are massive. They're heavy. He makes them in parts, and I've seen him pack for a show, load onto a trailer, in parts, all these pieces. And then when he gets to a museum, wherever that may be, the pieces come off the truck, and he has to reassemble them in the library. And he needs forklifts and huge equipment to do this. It's a fascinating thing. He does make other sculpture. I'd like to emphasize the fact that he is known for his 20th century dinosaur exhibit. It's, people love it. They gravitate to it. He gets so much publicity. Every museum to which he travels is just surrounded by reporters and magazine writers and media.
Well, I guess there's such an interest in
they
dinosaurs
are so
now
fascinating.
as
They're colorful. They're all different types of personalities coming out in these dinosaurs. At one point, he had an exhibit at the Carnegie Institute, which of course has one of the most revered collections of real dinosaur bones. And he felt great about being among these other pieces, these archaeological pieces. His dinosaurs always get tremendous attention because they can be ferocious looking, or they can be just daffy. You know, some of the expressions on them are really adorable. You fall in love with them. You fall in love with dinosaurs.
You are very enthusiastic about the subject.
Absolutely. And I photographed, I not only wrote about them, but I photographed many of the pieces in different museums. In Japan, I had a ball. We went and traveled to the museum, and I loved watching the Japanese reaction.
Now, you're an accomplished photographer as well as a writer. In a book like this, as well as your first book on Vanishing Splendor of Jersey Shore, what comes first, the photographs or the text?
Chicken or the egg.
And how do you decide what the balance will be?
Well, in the case of the Jersey Shore book, the photographs came first. I just happened to be showing a publisher the photographs, which were in the hundreds in number, and he said, "This is a book." I had photographed from Keyport to Cape May, right down the coast, in just about every town along the coast. And I got some very different types of pictures, not the typical Jersey Shore scene. Some of the pictures are, sad, I guess you could say. Some are ironic, some are downright funny, silly types of pictures. And then he said to me, well, these pictures are great, now we need a text. I was bowled over because I never set out to be a New Jersey historian. But I supplied the text and the book did materialize.
And in this case, did the photographs come before the text too?
Actually, the text sort of came first, I'd have to say that, if not simultaneously. It's hard for me to tell. I did take a lot of pictures of his work, and they came out very nicely, and I did use many of them in the book. I used other people's photographs as well. Whatever did the dinosaurs justice.
What would you say the greatest challenge of writing a biography is? Much different from the last book.
Is not wanting to assassinate the person you're writing about. It is so difficult to write about somebody who is alive, who is private, who has something to lose, I guess, if you as a writer decide to be derogatory. But in the book about Jim Gary, I found it fairly easy to honor his wishes to keep certain things about his life private, and to honor his wishes about how I projected his work. It does reflect him, and he's often called it his book, which kind of, there's a little tug of war in there sometimes. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we look forward to seeing Jim Gary, His Life and Art, just published, and we thank you, Tova Navarra, for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Sharon. It's my pleasure.
Hello, my name is Eileen O'Sullivan. I'm a 9th grader at Churchill Junior High School, and I will be presenting this week's comment on the Constitution. My topic is George Washington. George Washington was born in Virginia on February 22, 1732. He was an American soldier, statesman, and the first president of the United States. In December of 1782, Washington was able to bid farewell to the Army and the Congress. He had hoped to retire to Mount Vernon, but his country would not let him do this. He was not only a public figure, he was the most important public figure in the United States. Nothing could really be done without him. It was clear that if the new nation were to survive, it would have to have a stronger national government. All who understood this turned to Washington for leadership. The first talks that led to the Federal Convention of 1787 were held in Mount Vernon. When in 1787, Congress finally voted to call a convention, Washington headed the list of delegates from Virginia. All the American people had great admiration for Washington, and as soon as the convention met, it chose Washington as its president. He could not do much as president of the convention, but he did what he could outside the convention. For ever since the war started, he had worked for a stronger national government. Finally, the Federalists were successful in drawing up a new constitution, which provided for a real national government. On September 17, 1787, 39 delegates from 12 states signed the Constitution. Washington's name headed the list. Thank you.
Hi, this is Peggy Ballister-Howells, Middlesex County Agricultural Agent. And since it's the holiday season, it's a good time to talk about gifts for your gardening friends. I love to browse in bookstores, so one of my favorite things to buy is books, and the ones that are my favorites are the ones my friends find under their tree. Now this one is called Wyman's Gardening Encyclopedia. You can see it's a little bit beat up. I've had it for a couple of years, and it's my favorite book. It has generally information on all topics in horticulture for the garden and references on varieties and tools and pesticides, but I'm happy to say that it's just been updated. So while this one you may find, this one has just come out this year. You can tell it's the new edition. It has a purple cover instead of a beige one, has a little bit more information on pesticides, which are very important in the garden. This is your all-around basic gardening classic book to have, and would be one I'd recommend any gardener to have. Of course, if you want to get a little more specific, this one is on houseplants. Now this is called the Exotic Plant Manual, and it has a lot of pictures. They're all in black and white, and descriptions for care. Now this is a very good book, but if you want to go one step above and beyond this one, is Exotica. Now this is every houseplant lover's dream, and I wouldn't bother getting it if it's just for a person with 1 or 2 houseplants. But if they really love their plants, have a sunroom or a greenhouse, this classic volume, over 1,000 pages, with some color plates of pictures and descriptions, it's really a magnificent piece of work, and there just isn't anything better if you're talking about houseplants. Now also a little more specific, there are a series of books. Simon & Schuster's have a number of different books. This one is on cactus, one on plants and flowers, one on mushrooms. They also have one on trees and one on just specifically flowers. All of these have wonderful color photographs with a half-page description for each of the species that are covered. This one on mushrooms has wonderful photographs, and I have never seen anything that covers the information better. Another series are Taylor's. This one is annuals, one on shrubs, and one on bulbs. Again, wonderful color photography, excellent descriptions. This one's set up a little differently. Instead of having the descriptions right next to the pictures are on both sides of the page, and then the text is in the back. These are really hard-working reference books, but they're also a lot of fun to just browse through when you're sitting on a rainy or a very cold, wintry day. You can spend a lot of time just enjoying these. I have a couple of others. McCall's Garden Book is an excellent reference. It's sort of set up in a way like Wyman's Encyclopedia. Doesn't go into as much depth, but is an excellent supplement to that particular volume. The Perennial Garden is new within the last couple of years. Very specifically covers perennial flowers. It has them according to color, specific information, but even more importantly, it has a section on when they bloom. It covers all the flowers that will bloom in spring, month by month, through the fall. So it really gives you a good planning tool for designing your garden. This is the last one I have to show you. It's called Right Plant, Right Place. It has a lot of color photography in it and has sections on a wide variety of things, some on shrubs, some on flowers, some on houseplants. It's an excellent book for the generalist, for someone who's maybe just beginning to get into gardening, and also just for fun, because again, the photography is excellent and the descriptions are very helpful. Any of these books would be a wonderful addition to a gardening library. So if you're having trouble picking out some good things for your favorite gardening friends, any of these would be very much appreciated. Now, if you still can't come up with anything, next week we'll be talking about really good gardening tools. So maybe that'll help you out. See you then.
Children believe what their parents tell them.
You're pathetic. You can't do anything right.
You disgust me. Just shut up.
You can't be my kid.
You're worthless.
Hey, stupid, don't you know how to listen?
Stop and listen to what you're saying. You might not believe your ears.
I wish you were never born.
Take time out. Don't take it out on your kid.
For information in your area, contact the New Jersey chapter at 201-643-3710.
Hello, and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Adrienne Eisner of the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. At this time of the year, when so many of us are involved in shopping and preparing for the holidays, the Consumer Affairs Office has put together a Consumer Holiday Survival Kit. The packet includes information on shopping by mail, toys and toy safety, shopping tips, holiday food safety, and holiday decorations. If you would like to get a copy, you can get one at the East Brunswick Library, at the Municipal Building Lobby, in the Clerk's Office, at the Division of Recreation, or at the Consumer Affairs Office. One of the topics included in the kit is shopping tips. You should be sure to check out a store's policy regarding exchanges and refunds before you buy. Will the store give you your money back, credit your account, or allow an exchange only? How long after the time that the item is purchased may it be returned? Are items on sale returnable? According to New Jersey law, the store's policies on refunds, credits, or exchanges must be stated on the price tag or posted conspicuously. Be sure that you keep your receipts. If you need to return a gift, many times stores will not allow refunds or exchanges without receipts. For more information, why don't you stop by and pick up your copy of the Consumer Holiday Survival Kit. I hope you and your family enjoy safe and happy holidays. If you have any consumer questions, please call us at the Consumer Affairs Office. The telephone number is 390-6954. Thank you for joining me on Consumer Aware. See you again next time.
Reimbursement for trash collection costs for townhouse and condominium homeowners was the issue at a Township Council special action meeting held Monday night in the municipal courtroom. Council members discussed reimbursements of increased collection costs from September through December, which amounted to $6.80 per month per unit, or $60,565. It was proposed that the funding come from the host community benefits. These issues and others will be discussed at the council agenda meeting to be held next Monday night at 8 p.m. That's all for this week, and thanks for watching.